47. For people that are not really educated in video games and don't really play many of them, for them that's just a number, right? 47, nothing special about it. But for people that play video games, and especially for people that have played the Hitman series, 47 is not just a number, it is the name of one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. Of course, I'm talking about Agent 47, and in this video I will be talking a little bit about one of, if not the best, and one of my favorite video game series of all time. I'm going to be talking about the Hitman series, so let's just start off with the original. The first Hitman game to be released in this series is none other than Hitman Codename 47. Released in the year 2000 and developed by IO Interactive, I always thought the first two Hitman games were interesting and looked cool. The first I played was the third, Contracts, which mostly consisted of remade levels from the original games. Coming back to the first two now is a bit hard. They didn't age that well and gameplay is not so enjoyable in my opinion, but this still doesn't change the fact that this game is very fun to play, but also very hard to play. The controls didn't really age that well. All in all, this was a start and it could only get better from now on. Hitman 2 Silent Assassin was released in 2002, just 2 years after the original. IO Interactive took everything they learned while making the first game and tried their best to just improve the sequel as much as possible. And most people were very happy about this game. They took all the good things about the first game and made it better. I mean, more freedom in levels allowed the players to do missions just the way they liked to do them, which is something that every Hitman game in the series does to this day. Again, just like the first game, Silent Assassin is 20 years old, and it shows. The controls are weird sometimes, and the AI can be a nightmare. But you need to go into a 20-year-old game expecting it to not be perfect. If you look past a few annoying problems, Hitman 2 Silent Assassin is a really fun game, and a very important part of the series history.
I might have forgotten to mention.
Hitman Contracts is one of those games that I'm genuinely just biased about. It was one of the first games I ever got on my PlayStation 2 and I played it a lot during my childhood, so anytime I load this game up I just feel nostalgia and I can't help but just love every second of it. I mean, just the way this game looks, it just screams PlayStation 2 to me, and it just screams Hitman to me. There's nothing about this game that I particularly dislike. Obviously there's a lot of things that are different about these older types of games, just like the older two games that came before this one. There's a lot of things that could have been done better, but it is what it is. It's just small details like this which are just fascinating to me. Again, after 2 years, IO Interactive released the third game in the series. It was supposed to be Hitman 3, but IO didn't have enough time to finish developing it and just created Contracts, releasing it in 2004, which is like a celebration of the series up to that point, remaking a few of the levels from the past games and adding a couple new ones unique to Contracts. In my opinion, Contracts is amazing. I played this game every single day when I was younger, and it shows, because even now, all grown up, I know a lot of details about a lot of the levels. Not everybody might like Contracts this much, but for me it's a game that made me fall in love with the series and its mysterious, bald Hitman protagonist, so that's something I will always be thankful for. So Hitman Contracts, legendary in my opinion. Another 2 years had passed, and in 2006 we got Hitman Blood Money. This was the game that forced IO to create Contracts as a sort of filler game, so they would have more time to work on this one. And in literally everybody's opinion, it was worth it. To this day, most Hitman fans will call Blood Money the best game in the whole series. It allowed the player even more freedom while playing, everything was bigger and better, improvements were made, and the stage was set for an amazing game. Blood Money is a cult classic video game. Everybody has at least seen or heard about it. The replayability here was off the charts. And also, Blood Money had, at that point, one of the biggest graphical upgrades in the series. Due to being released on Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, there was a lot of factors that made sure this game would become a fan favorite.
What's that noise?
Shh. Don't make a sound.
Another 2 years would pass, but the streak of releasing a new Hitman game every 2 years was finally broken. This time it would take IO Interactive 6 years to release the next installment in the Hitman franchise, 2012's Hitman Absolution. Absolution is definitely the black sheep of the series. It splits the fanbase since it pretty much just distances itself from the open map and infinite freedom the past 4 games would give you. It focused more on the story of Agent 47, a girl named Victoria, and the agency, to not go into spoilers. It also had a very hated feature similar to the ones seen in the Red Dead Redemption games, where you could slow down time and hit multiple targets at once. It was something totally different, and most hardcore fans would say that it didn't feel like a Hitman game anymore. While I do agree that it didn't really feel like a Hitman game, I will never say that Absolution is a bad game. In my opinion, it's a very fun game with an interesting story. It helped give more character to Agent 47 and helped us get to know him a lot better than the past few games did. In the end, Absolution flopped and the servers were shut down for it soon after. That still won't really stop me from having Absolution as one of my favorite guilty pleasure games of all time. Now we come to the Hitman World of Assassination trilogy. It started with Hitman from 2016, followed by Hitman 2 in 2018 and Hitman 3 in 2021. These games worked as a kind of soft reboot for the series, since the first game in this trilogy came out 4 years after Absolution. While Absolution focused on the story and less on the expected gameplay of a Hitman game, this trilogy would become a giant story that also features the best levels in all of Hitman. You had the most freedom of pretty much any game here. You felt like Agent 47 from start to finish. You could replay the same level hundreds of times and still find new ways to get the job done. That's how just huge the levels were here. Originally, the levels were also released episodically, but thankfully they stopped doing that and just released everything all at once later on. This trilogy is something special, and it's just a blessing for every fan of the series. They took everything they had learned in the past 20 years to just create the perfect Hitman game. Buying something like one of the special editions of Hitman 3 is amazing too, since it just allows you to play all the levels from the previous 2 games in the trilogy. There's just so much content here, and it can do nothing other than just make you happy and proud to be a part of this community. Hitman as a series and Agent 47 as a character will always have a place in my heart as one of my favorite games I have ever played. I have so many good memories about this game, and I can't wait to see what else IO Interactive have up their sleeve, because let's be honest, this won't be the last time we see our favorite bald Hitman.